Hello, Professor. I just want to start off by saying I've really enjoyed taking your strategic storytelling class this semester, and I want to start off by telling you a little bit about my backstory in regards to my personal brand. So I'm 24. I'm originally from a small town, but it's small, but it's significant. It's High Point, North Carolina, and I say significant because we're home of the furniture market, furniture capital of the world. But other than that, there's not much going on here. So I went to college at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City, where I minored in economics and specialized in buying and planning. Fashion is always something that has interested me from when I was young. In high school, I actually put on a fashion show for a local boutique in my area, and I also was a part of like a modeling troupe in high school. But in the same sentence, I also am very business oriented as well. I took all the business trackways. I then moved to St. Louis, where I met up with my high school sweetheart. He was in the military, so we met up together. And so I was in St. Louis, and it's actually where I had a buying internship with Famous Footwear. And then from there, me and my boyfriend, he got out of the military, and so we ended up moving back home. And I've been back here for about a year. Now, in the midst of all that, it wasn't all glittery and gold. I had some trials and tribulations and periods of unemployment and depression, but I can honestly say that where I am now, I'm very happy, which happiness is the most important thing when it comes to life. And so what I currently do now, I am a replenishment specialist for Wrangler, the denim jeans brand. And on the side, I run a fashion blog or inspirational page under Whitney Maven. And Whitney Maven is me essentially. I just thought Whitney Maven just rang the bells a little bit more, which is why I went with that name. Whitney Maven is all about style and true confidence. It's getting people to look fabulous and be fabulous at the same time. And it's more importantly about inspiring people to go chase their goals and their own success. So it's safe to say that I know the cliche term passion for fashion, but really that's me. I got my degree in fashion, I work in fashion, and my hobbies are centered around fashion as well. When it comes to who I am as a person, my God-given talents and abilities, number one, is me being very empathetic, which I used to think that was a weakness, but now it's definitely one of my strengths, because being highly emotional and being highly empathetic, being highly emotional and being someone that is means that I'm very empathetic. And I found out through the store running book how having empathy is something that's sought after, that you can use to help build your relationship with your people or with your prospects. And so that's something that is definitely a strength of mine. It's something that comes naturally. And it's also other things that come with that is high intuition and things like that. And so another God-given gift of mine is, I was saying earlier, how I'm a creative and I'm also a business person as well. Like I said, back in high school, I took all of the extracurricular activities were all fashion, but then in school, all business, I took that business trackway, which is ultimately why I got my degree in fashion business management. Then my next God-given ability, which is something that I don't think I've leveraged yet in my life, and I'm working on it, especially as me being awkward in this video a little bit, but this is like my first video I've ever made. But presence. This is something I've been told ever since I was younger. And then periodically, in like each stage, anytime I start a new job or while I was in college, just random people, whether it's family, not family, teachers, professor, so it's like, when you have a presence about you. And I didn't know how to take that, still don't to this day, but I know that's something that I have naturally that can help me in the future. And like I said, I didn't do anything to get the presents. People just say I have it. And so that is on my list as well. And also the reason why I put presents on the list, it has to deal with one of my obstacles. And so when it comes to who I am, Whitney, one of the biggest obstacles I've had to overcome is confidence. And I'll give two examples of, I guess you could say, failures or learning bits, or it was important and needed towards my growth. But I'll just share with you two story times. The first came about in college. I was a senior working on a senior project, most colleges you have like a final major project that combines everything you've learned, which it was a group project and everything was going great. Great thing, my group actually received a perfect score on the paper, and the project as a whole, we got a 99. And the 99 came from the presentation part, and the presentation parts were taken off. It was because of two people. It was another person, and it was me. And then the professor specifically said to me, he was like, Whitney, you're very smart. I could tell by your work that you submitted that you know what you're talking about, but it's like when you're presenting, you lack confidence. And even though that, like, in the moment, that was like a jab to me in the moment, but ultimately I needed that. And so fast forward to when I was in St. Louis doing my buying internship, we also had to do a presentation. And this is also go back around to the presents being involved as well. Did a presentation, and really that happened to be one of my failures too. And not even the presentation, the whole buying internship, I had a lady that I worked with that wasn't my boss, and so I feel like she was a bit more like truthful with me, and she was just like, Whitney, you're really smart and you're really amazing, but like what you lack, what she said, she's like, what you lack is confidence. And it showed when I actually did my presentation, the big presentation that each of the buying interns had to do. And it just went, I say it was a failure because it just went horrible. In my head, it went horrible. Because I know I could have did better. But despite, in my head, everything, and me lacking confidence and thinking I did a horrible job, I get off the stage, and then a person comes up to me, is like, you have a presence about you though. Like, that's your strength on stage. Like, you have a presence. And so with all of that and how I've kind of overcome and actually built and strengthened my confidence is, first I had to get to the root of why I wasn't confident. And ultimately it came down to me caring about what other people viewed of me, and second, not being true to myself and loving myself for who I am. And so when it comes to that, my unique value proposition is simple. It's all about having true confidence and true happiness. And so who does Whitney Maven attract? Honestly, I attract people who are just like me. I attract people who, young women, they love fashion and our beauty, and they're intelligent, and they have a strong passion for success. And so in conclusion, I hope that by me telling you my personal brand story, that it then inspires you to live a life that is full of true confidence and true happiness. Because ultimately, happiness is the most important thing in life.